Good morning and welcome to the Houston Zoo's Facebook Live. Sorry we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're here now. It's a little chilly outside, so we thought we'd bring you inside to learn about our Asian small-clawed otters today. And they'll be out in just a second. So coming out right now, we have our two Asian small-clawed otters. One male, his name is Dantu, he's in the front right now, and our female is to the left, her name is Athena. You can tell them apart because Dantu kind of has cockroach antenna at the top of his head. He's also darker in color and a little bit smaller. Athena is a little bit bigger, she has a wider nose, and the base of her tail is a little bit thinner. So right now they're interacting with their enrichment. So we've hidden some tasty treats inside these logs for them. So they are using their paws to manipulate and twist the balls that are inside around so that they can get the food out. They have really great dexterity, so hiding things for them to manipulate is one of their favorite pastimes. So they're finding some good snacks in there. We have some shrimp and some silverside. And in the wild, otters live in really big groups called romps, and they can live into groups of 20, but they will hunt on their own. So right now they're together, but they'll kind of separate from each other when they're looking for food to find their own, and they're probably gonna get mad at each other for being too close with the food right now. Yep. Here. Like I said, this is an enrichment item for them. So this is going to help to replicate behaviors that they would do in their natural environment. So when they would hunt for food, they would have to dig through a lot of substrate like sand or mud to find their food. And so right now they're kind of mimicking having to look through something that they can't see into very well, and to use their paws to manipulate and get the food out. Come over this way. And so now Athena is heading over. She has found the ice treats that we've made for them. So there are fish and shrimp hidden inside the ice treats as well. And sometimes they'll leave them out and let them melt a little bit on their own. And then once they get softer, they'll get the food out, or sometimes they'll bring it to the water and throw that in, and that helps it melt faster as well. And so Athena they're very smart, and she knows that if she leaves it out for a little bit, it's going to soften so that she doesn't have to work as hard to get it out. And feel free, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and we'll get to as many as we can. Asian small-clawed otters, as their name suggests, are native to Southeast Asia. You'll find them in Malaysia, the Philippines, and Indonesia. And they are found in waterways, riverways there. One of the biggest threats to their population would be habitat loss, and pollution. So if the water is dirty or super polluted, these guys do not like to be in that. It's not healthy for them. So they are an indicator species. So if there are otters in the riverways, that's a good way to know that it's a healthy and clean riverway. So if you see any otters in our riverways here in Houston, they wouldn't be Asian small-clawed otters, but some river otters, that's always a good indicator that our water system is doing well and it's clean and there's enough food for them to find. As you kind of saw, Dantu kind of juggled that in his hands a little bit to try and get a better grip on it. So one of their favorite pastimes is holding their pebbles and kind of laying on their backs and juggling them around. And it's very cute, and so sometimes when you come and see them here, they'll be playing with their pebbles. So we have a question, how old are they? So our female Athena is 4 years old and our male Dantu is 13. In captivity, they can live into their 20s. In the wild, about 12 years old is their max age. And otters are very playful, so if you come here to see them, if they're not napping, they're probably going to be playing with each other. Our female Athena is super playful, so she usually is trying to bother Dantu into waking up and chasing her around. That's one of her favorite pastimes. We can find Dantu and Athena here at the Houston Zoo in the Natural Encounters building. So it's the first building when you walk into the zoo, and their exhibit is the first one when you walk into the Natural Encounters building. There are 13 species of otters, and the Asian small-clawed otters are the smallest ones. Here at the Houston Zoo, we have 3 species. We have Asian small-clawed, giant river otters, and North American river otters. So if you're ever in Children's Zoo, you can see the North American river otters, and in our Poncinel exhibit, you can see the giant river otters. We're often asked if our otters hold paws while they sleep, and no, they do not. So that is something that is unique to sea otters. Sea otters will float on their backs and hold paws when they sleep to stay together. These guys do not hold paws. They also have very different paws. They have almost little fingers, if you can see, and they use that, which helps them to manipulate their prey and to dig through substrate so that they can get their food out. They primarily eat crustaceans and mollusks, so they'll dig through the sand and the mud to find them. And their dexterity really helps them with their finger-like digits to dig through those and manipulate them very well. We have a question that says, do they just live in pairs? No, they do not. So they can live in groups of up to 20. It's typically a family group. And it's called a romp, so a romp of Asian small-clawed otters. So they do live in big family groups. So we have a pretty small romp here. Usually the males will kind of go off to form their own families, but the rest will stay in a family group. We have a question from Paul. He asks, what is their favorite enrichment? They like anything that they can manipulate with their paws. So they're really smart, so they like to almost solve puzzles in a way. So we like to hide their food in things that they really have to work out to get out. And they also like anything that's going to elicit play in them. So they have some special enrichment items that they'll have in the back that they like to use and kind of throw around and chase. But their main thing is that really like enrichment items with food hidden in that they have to work at to get out. And every day here at the Houston Zoo, they get different enrichment. So we will provide different things to encourage behaviors that they would naturally do in order to keep them mentally and physically stimulated. Waylon asks, what does their diet consist of? That's a good question. So their diet is primarily crustaceans and mollusks, but they will also eat insects, small mammals, lizards, amphibians, but primarily crustaceans and mollusks. And so we see Athena is really working at those ice treats, trying to get the food that is inside. These are a very vocal species. They have over 12 vocalizations or different noises that they will make. And that's a way to communicate with each other, to let them know if there's prey around, if there's a danger, or just to locate where each other are. And it's also, they could use different noises for mating as well. Again, if you're just joining us, these are our Asian small-clawed otters. We have Dantu and Athena. Right now they're looking through their enrichment, trying to find some food that we've hidden in there. And as you see, they're in the water right now. They do primarily spend the majority of their time on land, but they are very well equipped to be in the water. They have an extra flap on their ears so that closes when they're underwater, and same with their nostrils, so they don't get water in there. And they do have semi-webbed toes, so that helps them swim very easily. And their fur is also very thick, and they have air pockets in their fur, so that helps them to stay warm in the water. And when they come out, they'll get more air bubbles, air pockets, in order to dry and stay warm. Charlie has a question. He said, what is their lifespan? In a zoo setting, they can live to be about 20. In the wild, it's typically around 12 years old. And that is due to predation, as well as habitat loss and destruction. How long can they hold their breath for? Asian small-clawed otters can hold their breath for about 8 minutes underwater, so that's a pretty long time. And so Dantu here is trying to figure out how to get the food out of that ice treat. So he's using his paws to try and manipulate it and push it around to see where he can get to. Usually he'll be the one that will bring it to the water and shove it in, and that helps it melt. And we can help save Asian small-clawed otters in the wild by reducing, reusing, and recycling. So trying to use as little plastic as we can by using reusable water bottles, trying to skip the plastic bags at the grocery store and using our own bags, and just trying to be really conscious of our impact on the planet and reusing what we have. Our conservation partners in areas that they are native to also are working with the locals to educate them on how to coexist with the Asian small-clawed otters so that they can both be in the environment healthily and happily. Yes, so our otters get along with each other very well. When they were first introduced, it went smoothly, and they've been inseparable since. Again, Athena is a little bit younger and she's a lot more playful, so sometimes she gets on Dantu's nerves a little bit, but he's a trooper and he puts up with it very well. Otters will also scent mark everything. So Dantu sometimes will come over here into the wood bowl, which is their substrate that they have out on exhibit, and he'll kind of wiggle his body around, and that's helping him to scent mark and to let other otters know that this is his area. Again, if you're just joining us, these are our Asian small-clawed otters, Dantu and Athena. Right now they're working on their ice treat, trying to get the yummy snacks that are inside. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments and we'll get to as many as we can. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Join us again next Wednesday at 11 a.m. for another Facebook Live. And remember that a portion of your tickets goes to helping saving animals in the wild.